Hello there, and welcome back to Let's Talk Assassin's Creed. This is episode 175. We published our previous episode just a few days ago, and it has been one heck of a week. It is the 18th of May. I am joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Chris.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Chris. Wow, it's been busy. I feel
Crazy.
so energized and excited. I feel like a child on Christmas Eve, I've got to be honest with you. How are you doing?
I'm buzzing, mate. I'm absolutely excited, over the moon. Yeah,
Yeah,
can't wait.
yeah. And as you'll see here, or you will hear in a moment, we are joined after a very long break, and I'm very pleased to speak to him again and to have him back on the show. Andrew from Visions of the Past.
Hey guys, it's nice to be back around. And then yeah, this week kind of made me excited for Assassin's Creed again.
Yeah, yeah. So we had, was it Monday, was the kind of the teaser of the hourglass, and then a frantic 48 hours of people solving puzzles, trying to, it was a Grand Prix cipher, which was quite pleasing to find.
Evelyn,
Trying
return.
exactly. And when I saw, when I didn't solve the puzzle, I didn't have the time, full-time job and don't have the brain power. But when I saw the grid, I was like, that's a Grand Prix cipher. And that just made me smile because of Aveline. So there was a puzzle with some codes on an hourglass. Then there was a map grid puzzle which revealed the location in Japan that
I didn't even know that puzzle came out until 2 days after it came out, and I was looking at map locations from the collector's edition little map book snippet that they put out.
mm,
And Mike, like, yeah, they did that, and I'm like, oh man.
it's been great. And then it was Wednesday was cinematic trailer day. That was a great trailer. Uh, Chris, why don't you talk us through the highlights of
Yeah, I mean
what we saw?
the cinematic trailer. I mean Ubisoft, I think, always do a good job with our cinematic trailers. Always gives you a good sense of what might happen, what the story is. But yeah, I mean, some of my favorite bits, like I'm going to talk about the pivot blade.
Please do.
Yeah, so that along with the pivot blade reveal, along with the grappling hook are the things that I'm most excited about because I love my weapons, I love my tools and stuff, and try to get around things different ways. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, double assassinations are back on the menu, boys.
Yeah,
Yep.
Um, but we don't just have one protagonist; we have two. We
yeah,
have Naue. Now, I'm so glad that there was the trailer, and then there was the sort of the companion video, which was meet the characters. And I'm so glad that one of the people on the team pronounced the name because I wasn't sure how to pronounce Naue.
uh,
Um, so we've got Naue and we've got Yasuke. And Yasuke was a historical figure. He's not the first historical figure that we've had that we can play as in a game. We've had, on my word, there was a very good list on the subreddit. Jack the Ripper. There's one other I'm forgetting. Anyway,
yeah, I
doesn't
can't
matter.
remember.
But we've got a playable historical character, and he's going to be. I think he's going to be kicking in the front door, whilst Naue sneaks in through the rooftops over the back. Which again, we can choose our approach and choose our play style, which I'm looking forward to. Andrew, did you have any highlights from the trailer?
That pivot blade reveal that really got me excited because I like the idea of this is before Connor uses it, so maybe we get a little bit more on how it comes into play. I don't use You mentioned the companion video, and they mentioned the type of dagger or sword that it turns into, and I'm
Yeah,
drawing a blank
it's
on what it
a
was called.
Tanto.
Tanto, yes.
Yeah,
And so we saw that one moment, and I think it was in the cinematic where she double air assassinated with her pivot Tanto, and then another one. And
mm.
I was excited to see that come back. I'm expecting, I'm excited to actually have a mainline historical character, even though we don't know much about him historically. what we do know, we saw in the trailer, his meeting with Oda Nobunaga. And I'm just really excited to see the different styles of play. And there was a comment, I think it was in the character trailer, or it was in one of the breakdowns that I saw, that those two characters, when you're not playing them, they're going to continue living their lives. So I'm wondering if we're going to get some kind of like hot switch feature like we had with Grand Theft Auto 5. So I'm really excited to see the gameplay and how that's actually going to work out. But I'm more excited than I've been for a while. Even with the Valhalla cinematic trailer, this one got me a little bit more.
Yeah, understood. We did a live stream Wednesday night, I think it was, where I watched the trailer, and Chris and I had a good conversation about some of the content in the trailer, but also in the other material they released. Seasons are going to play a big part of the gameplay.
Yeah.
One bit that caught my eye, and I think you mentioned it on the stream, and then I read it again later because there was so much going on. I was forgetting stuff as fast as I was reading it. But ponds in gardens will freeze over in winter, but in summer there'll be hiding places. And I love the idea, if we get some replayability, that we can take different approaches to locations and targets that vary based on the weather.
Yeah, and they said one of the ones that I watched was that the weather will also affect guard movement. So like when it's colder out or night, they'll huddle by fires, and when it's raining, they'll try to stay under shade and awnings and things like that. So I'm really excited to see what this is going to bring for infiltration.
Yeah.
See, I'm interested to know how the weather system works. Is it going to be like AC free, where it's just certain parts of the game are in different seasons, or would you be able to change seasons on the fly? Maybe like the time change system in the last few games where you pass time. I doubt they would go that far for a season, a whole season shift, but I don't know. I mean, I just don't know how they would work it.
It reminds me of the old Total War series. Now, I'm sure they do it in the newer games, but in Rome, when you triggered a battle, you could wait for weather that benefited your army. But the trade-off was you could only wait a few days, and if you waited too long, the battle would just start, whether you had the advantage or not. But it would be interesting, wouldn't it? You're looking over a target, and do you wait for night? Do you wait for rain? Do you wait for
Yeah,
fog? I mean, again, it would be nice to be that master of the night, wouldn't it? It's stormy, it's cold, but you're there because nothing stops
yeah,
you. That's a very exciting possibility.
yeah, that'd be exciting.
Yeah, how they implement this dynamic, is it truly dynamic weather, or is it scripted like AC3 where it was certain acts? I'm guessing based on it being an RPG that it's going to be more on the dynamic side, because they've done away with the DNA script. There isn't going to. I'm guessing the only replayability that we're going to get from a story perspective is going to be either a new game plus or restarting. But it's going to be interesting to see how they implement it, because the way they talk about it, I doubt it's going to be like they did with Valhalla, where if you were in the southern portion, it was warmer. If you were in the northern portion, it was always snow. So it could be interesting to see how they implement dynamic weather.
I took from the material that the whole world would be dynamic, that
Yeah.
each province, the cities, because they showed in one scene, I think it was a castle, and they showed it transitioning through the seasons. The snow builds up, the snow melts away. Could be wrong there, and it could still have like a very much a biome approach where one area is always colder, one area is always warmer. But I took it that the whole world would change with the seasons, but we'll see.
Yeah, the way they talked about infiltration with the differences in guards, and where one season you'll have high grass and in one season you won't. It makes it sound like everything's going to be dynamic.
Yeah, yeah. And again, we talked about this on the live stream, but Chris got very excited when we were looking at some of the content. We think we can hide in shadows, in
They made it
dark
seem that way,
areas.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that you
If
could extinguish torches to make more shadow or less.
yeah, I mean the IGN article was talking about Splinter Cell and the lighting system in that.
And we can finally go prone.
I missed that
That's
part.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that you when you said Splinter Cell, yeah, that
Mm,
check that, yeah, they mentioned going prone.
that's crazy. So we'd probably be able to like crawl under buildings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's you
Oh,
can do that in Ghost of Tsushima, can't you? You can
Yeah,
crawl under certain
under
buildings
the
and so
floorboards
on.
and stuff.
And
And
then
I'm
you can pop
thinking
up inside. Yeah.
because I don't know what they're called, but I know that like back in those times in that part of the world, like in their castles and stuff, they had like these specific type of floorboards that would make noise to stop ninjas coming in and assassinating people. So I hope they implement stuff like that into it because I think that would be mad. Try to
that would
sneak
be
in and then
crazy.
you hit the floor and it just makes a big noise. You're like, "Eh."
That would be brilliant. But imagine if your eagle vision could detect that and you can jump over it. That would create a bit of engagement.
Yeah.
I want to
That
move through this hallway, but I need to dodge or I need to jump a certain point. That or use my grappling hook to swing from a rafter.
yeah,
That
that
could make the
reminds me
gameplay very interesting.
of the loud boards that were in Chronicles in AC Chronicles China.
Oh yes,
Yeah, exactly like that.
man. So it sounds like they've been mining some of their other
Some of
brands
that,
for
yeah.
some stealth ideas. That's great. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's that the whole trailer just for me specifically, like you know that I love AC3 the most, and that whole trailer was just a big AC3 vibe to me with the seasonal stuff and the pivot blade, and I was just like, oh my God, this speaks to me.
Yeah.
Pivot blade reveal was great. What does that mean though? So Connor was 1750s.
1776 is when the American Revolution start.
Revolution.
When was the Tea Party? Was that the previous year?
That was oh goodness, you put me on the spot. That was December 75 or 76, yeah.
Okay, so he's already in the Brotherhood by then, isn't he? So he's about 1750, 1755. So
Yeah.
we're talking 180 years
150-ish
later.
years, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it turns out he got the idea from somewhere else. I wonder how the
Well,
idea transmitted from Asia to the US.
Well, I mean, he
well, he
already got the
also
rope
remember
down.
that, and you also got to think that Connor didn't he get Achilles' old blades?
Oh, I
I
can't
think he did
remember.
because he presents
Oh
him with the
my.
box, doesn't he? In
Yeah.
the house.
Oh yeah, the hidden blade. Yeah.
So those blades have been, oh goodness, Achilles was in, let's see, Rogue was 1750s.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're talking maybe 100 years.
Mm.
150,
Interesting to know
yeah.
how the idea spread. I mean, you'd have to assume they came back to Europe. The design came back to Europe through the Silk Road, and then maybe spread to the US with colonizers potentially. What I didn't realize this morning, because this is not the first time that Assassin's Creed has visited Japan. Turns out there's been a lot going on in transmedia in Japan. And what I didn't realize was the connection between Ezio, Shaoyun, and Japan. And there is a passing of ideas between them to the point where I rewatched Embers this morning, which I haven't seen in several years. And that I had forgotten. Actually, it's a gem.
Mm.
I mean, I didn't get emotional. Of course, I didn't. I did. And I'd forgotten the connection of Ezio passing on his knowledge to Xiao Yun, who goes back to China. Now she recruits, and I got the name here because I didn't know this bit. She recruits Chao Hu, who is then also known as Kotetsu, and he goes to Japan to found. He's the founder of the Japanese Brotherhood in around, well, we don't exactly know, but Kotetsu was born 1510s. So we have to say 1530, 1540, 1550, maybe.
Kotetsu doesn't go back to Japan until after they learn that Templars have infiltrated Japan, which was in, I have it written down here, 15, where is it? It was 50, because that's somebody's death. Where did I put it? Did I not write it down? Anyway,
I've got it. I'll tell you, I've got it here because I was copying and pasting stuff out of the wiki. In 1549,
yes,
European
that was the year I
Templars
was looking
arrived
for.
in Japan, aiming to spread their influence to new lands. Their new activities in Japan would soon catch the attention of the assassins. Take it away, Andrew.
I thought I wrote down there was when the Portuguese first arrived in Japan in 1549, that ship had Templars with it, and they started to
Yeah.
infiltrate Japan. So I would assume that based on how quickly they go about it, we're talking Kotetsu would have started in probably the 1560s, would be my best guess, roughly 20 years or so before Shadows start.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're still a relatively new organization, relatively new ideas. Um, do we have a death date for Kotetsu?
No. We also do not
Oh.
have a death date for Xiaojun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And
she wouldn't make an appearance in the game, would she?
at this point, she'd be in her 70s.
Mm,
She was born in 1505, I think.
okay.
Oh, there it is. And the name I was looking for the Portuguese was Francis Xavier, who is
Right.
a Catholic saint.
Got it. Got it.
Yep.
I mean, it'd be quite cool if Xiaoyun appeared.
I just
Even if
want a
it was in
letter.
a. Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
nice too. But Kotetsu could appear.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do a letter. I think they've been doing quite a lot of those lately in them. Like there was a few letters in Mirage that hinted to other things. Also, there's in Valhalla the letter. Was it from Amunet?
Yeah, the Amunet Bayek. Bayek
Yes.
Yeah.
to
Oh, was
Amunet.
it back? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
well,
just things
Amunet
like
had
that.
all that stuff in all of the old bureaus.
Yeah.
Mm,
So
mm.
Yeah, I like little nods like that, so I wouldn't be surprised if we find a few of those in there.
So I'm going to read another paragraph, and this is copied directly from the wiki. But again, it all adds a bit of flavor to the food. So, after their arrival, the assassins found allies in the Japanese ninja, from whom they learned new techniques. They made contact with the warlord Oda Nobunaga, who we've seen in the trailer, who promised an alliance as soon as he united the country. In addition, the assassins made a secret alliance with Tokugawa Ieyasu, whose vassal Hattori Hanzo had become a master assassin. There's a lot. I mean, again, it's only one trailer. It's 3.5 minutes. There's a lot more characters we could see
Yeah.
on screen, referred to in letters. I've been on a bit of a journey with transmedia since I joined this podcast, which must be 2.5, 3 years ago. I hadn't read any of the novels. I wasn't really interested. I'm still not really interested in the comics, but I'm really looking forward to some of the supporting media or expansion stories. There's nothing to stop them doing a prequel story that goes back.
Oh,
We could explore Kotetsu's memories. We could explore Xiaoyun's memories. We could do a series of missions as Hattori Hanzo. There's a lot out there. Or Tokugawa Yasu's final unification of Japan under his control. But I just didn't realize how much additional stories and lore there was for Japan in the comics.
So that's not even comics. It's Assassin's Creed Memories, which is an old
yes.
iOS game from 2014, I think it was. And yeah, we already have a lot of information on Oda Nobunaga's life. There's what you mentioned, and then he kind of drifts away once he finds a Sword of Eden. And that
plot twist.
that moment, I have this okay, so here's the question you have to ask. Will they disregard memories and write their own lore behind Nobunaga and his starting of the unification of Japan? If they do, then most of all of what we know is not going to matter, because
True.
we know, according to memories, how he dies. We know who kills him. We know, we don't know what happens to the sword. We know about some battles of the unification of Japan. And I honestly think that this game could go until the battle of, it was October 1st, 1600. I wrote it down.
Sekigahara.
Yes, that one. I honestly think we could go that far, because that's kind of the moment. I mean, it can be debated on when unification of Japan actually started, but that seems to be the beginning of the Tokugawa shogunate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think we could see a lot of people that we already know about, and a lot of historical figures that we know about at this moment.
In the just a little side note here, so and we can share this, we just can't sort of share the entire document. So on Friday, it's very exciting, I was added to the creators program, and as part of that they sent us a like a briefing document on the game, and there's one sentence here that I'm going to read out which I think is very interesting. So it's talking about, it's a couple of paragraphs describing the protagonists. So Yasuke is the iconic samurai. He was a real person who was likely born in Mozambique, etc., etc., etc. Then the last sentence they say, introducing Yasuke, is, in our story, Yasuke had other reasons for coming to Japan tied to the narrative of the game. More of these details to come later this year. So I wonder, why was he driven to go to Japan? What's happening in his home country that leads him in that direction? We don't know yet. It's almost impossible to speculate. But that sentence I thought was fascinating. What's pushing him to travel there? This is the point when we realize there's like an ancient Isu vault in East Africa, and he's heading to Japan because there's another vault there that he wants to explore, something like that. But maybe he needs the sword and to take it home to open up a vault or something.
Yes, yeah. Yasuke is one of those historical characters that fits for Assassin's Creed, because we know very little about his life. We know that he was most likely born in Mozambique. We don't know his name before Japan. We don't know when he was born. We have some documents on his time in Japan, but after the death of Oda Nobunaga, there's nothing. So they can do a lot with it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I'm muted.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Always unprofessional. I'm not even going to edit that out. I'm going to leave my embarrassment public on the internet. I wonder, so the year the story starts, is it the year that
1579, the year he shows up in Japan with the Portuguese Jesuits?
What year does Oda Nobunaga die? It's not that year, is it?
No, he died in 1582.
1582. Okay. I mean, we can speculate massively. I wondered if the game might sort of kickstart the activity with the death of Oda Nobunaga, but it won't, because it was his invasions of, well, his attacks on Naoe's home province, Iga,
yeah.
Caused,
and that was 1581 when he actually conquered it. He had two wars there. And I think the first Tensou Iga War was before Yasuke, I think. But I have this feeling, just from the trailers and from the way they talk about Naoe and Yasuke, is that Yasuke is going to be the one that kills Naoe's dad. And I can't think of his name, because he was a historical general in
I wrote it down.
war.
It's Fuji something. I wrote it. I've got paper. Let's do it old school. Hold on. I wrote it down whilst we were reading and talking about stuff. Damn it.
It's
his surname, or his first name is Nagato.
Is it Fujiyama Nagato?
It might be, yeah. Yeah. Damn it. I wrote it down.
Because I
didn't hear it amongst all my work notes.
I didn't find his his death. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he is killed by Yasuke, and that because they mentioned that they start as adversaries and
Yes.
then become closer together. So I have
Yes.
this feeling that Oda Nobunaga is actually going to be a Templar, or that there's going to be some kind of Templar corruption within the three great unifiers. And because we keep seeing Naue saying something along the lines of that you don't know what you're doing, you don't see everything yet, and now that you're starting to see things, your eyes are starting to be open to like corruption and stuff. So I have a feeling we're gonna see that twist, and I wonder now. This is why I wonder if they're going to disregard um, memories, is because in memories, Oda Nobunaga was killed by Yamuchi Taka, but the way that I read the trailer is that it's going to be Yasuke who kills Oda Nobunaga, because historically Yasuke was with Oda Nobunaga when he performed seppuku.
Right.
So
Yeah.
how are they really going to take it's yeah. Yeah. So many
Almost
ways they
makes
could
too
take it.
much sense.
Yes, yes. The one thing we do know from, I don't know if this is covered in Memories, but it's definitely covered in Blade of Azu, the recent Fragments novel, is that the assassins are allied to the Tokugawa shogunate.
Yes, they are,
So they are
because
allied to Tokugawa Yasu.
Hattori Hanzo is one of Tokugawa Yasu's vassals, and he at this point is a master assassin.
Mm, mm.
He actually protects Tokugawa Yasu during the moment that the other vassal turns on Oba Nobunaga, and what causes him to perform his ritual suicide.
Understood. So that faction is known. We have a known relation. Of course, there's still lots they can do. They could write quite a dense story. I know we've got these seasons changing, and that's for gameplay, but the actual story of events could take place over a year or less,
Yep.
potentially. You know, it might do what Odyssey and Valhalla and Mirage did, where you get one date in the opening cutscene and no further dates are clarified in game. I don't know why they do it. It's to give you freedom to explore and explore the different stories in an order that you like. It's not like the older games where every memory had a specific date.
Hmm.
So they might just say 1579 and the rest happens when it happens. But they did say there will be certain historical events that will take place on defined dates.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
What
wonder
do we
if they'll
know?
actually
Go
have.
on, Chris.
I was just gonna say, I wonder if they'll have like another what they called, the history tour things. I always forget what they're
Oh,
called.
the Discovery Tour?
The Discovery Tour. That's
Hope
it.
so.
Because they obviously didn't have it with Mirage, but I wasn't expecting it for that anyway. Because that was like a kind of,
Well, and they
you
kind of
know,
built it in with those specialty
yeah,
glyphs or things with it.
yeah, the wee things you collect. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that as well. I read all of those and I thought that was relatively cheap. Instead of
I
Yeah.
having to
mean,
build an entire different game. But
it
yeah,
was fine.
that was a nice way of doing it. Tell us about Pieces of Eden, Andrew. What do we know about first civilization stuff?
So all we really know for certainty is that Oda Nobunaga had a sword of Eden. That once he got that sword, he kind of pushed away his um, agreement with the assassins. And then on his death, that sword was supposed to be taken by, and I just said his name.
Hanzo?
No, not Hanzo. Well, Hanzo's busy protecting Iyasu.
Oh, he's the other side.
Um,
Yes.
Yamamuchi Takada, when he killed Nobunaga, he was supposed
Yeah.
to take that sword to a Chinese assassin by the name of Liu Yang.
Mm-hmm.
But after it gets into Liu Yang's hands, we don't know what happened to it. So I assume it kind of went into the hands of the second and third great unifiers, Toyotomi Hideyoshi and Tokugawa Ieyasu. I assume that's how Japan was united, because that's what Swords of Eden do. They allow for conquering of boosting morale of your troops, lowering the morale of the others. It's what's really interesting to me is that there's a maybe a piece of Eden in Blade of Azu. Maybe it isn't. It's hard to tell. I assume that it is because it's a legendary family sword. It's a is it a Tashi? It's the oh, I wrote it down. The Miyamoto no, it's the Musashi Masume. It's a Tachi of Miyamoto Musashi. He's in the Blade of Azu, but historically, there's actually a little bit known about the weapon itself, and that traces its origins back to the. It was a gift from the Tokugawa clan, possibly even within his family from Tokugawa Ieyasu. So there's a way that maybe this is actually a piece of Eden, that it's the sword that unified Japan. So that's really the only piece of Eden that we know. I think if we rotate Altair's map from one, I think there's an Isu vault in Japan, but I don't remember exactly where the dot is on the map.
Okay. Wonder if a quick Google search. I'm gonna have a quick search it. Talk amongst yourselves, chaps.
So, just a little interesting thing that I noticed from the document that we were sent. So the battle scene, it says the battle between the Oda clan and a rival clan as part of the big reunification. It says all moves shown in the trailer are moves directly taken from the gameplay.
Yes, I saw that. That was very interesting.
So, I mean, that move where he spins around and slashes like 10 people in a
10
circle.
people, yeah. I remember seeing that they said, yeah, he can really do that.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, oh, so this is going to be very brutal.
Yeah, so yeah, Yasuo's just going to be this unstoppable tank.
Yeah, he's going to be a tank. He's going to be like for instance, with Valhalla, I would just load up Eivor with spears and just run head first because nothing could kill her. I feel like that's going to be Yasuke, but Naoe is going to be like Bassam and permadeath.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Do you guys think you'll do a complete playthrough as one, then the other, or will you switch, or are you just going to roll with it and see how you feel on the day?
Me personally, I might play it. Well, it really depends on how you're able to switch characters and when you can switch them, stuff like that. But if you can kind of just switch them on the fly, then I'll probably just play it like the way I played Syndicate, and that's just like I'd go stealthily most of the time. But there's certain situations where I just want to run in and just tank them.
Yeah, it's going to really depend on the story.
Yeah.
If I like the idea of being able to stealth all of it, but if there are things like this battle canonically happened with Yasuke, I'm going to play as Yasuke. And that's just, I've been this way since Odyssey. Like, I've still not played as Alexios at all.
Same. Totally understand that. I always just go for the canon choice, the canon character. That's how I want to play it. So
yeah, I want the story presented as it was supposed to be written.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wonder, actually, that reminds me when you said there, battles with Yasuke. I wonder if, because this is being led by Quebec, will they bring back the contest battles from Odyssey, where you'd have about 150 soldiers?
Well, they could.
Divided between Sparta and Athens, and you would just go in and go melee crazy. And that could be fun to bring that back.
Well,
but of course, they're all clad in samurai armor. That could be awesome.
It would make sense, because if he can cut down 10 guys at once, that would make sense. And with running on this generation hardware, you could have much bigger battles.
Yes. I do wonder what we're going to
Yeah.
see visually. I mean, it's been some time, you know.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that this isn't coming out for the last gen of consoles, so it's got a bit more power behind it now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I forget about it too until I look at the price tag.
Yeah.
And I went, yep, yep.
I have pre-ordered. I don't mind admitting that. I did not pre-order Mirage until a few weeks before release because I felt by then I'd seen enough gameplay and other stuff that I was like, this will be good. I didn't want another Valhalla. Valhalla left me with very cautious feelings about future games, and Mirage totally turned that round. But I will freely admit I've pre-ordered Shadows, and I cannot wait. I'm very excited. Japan.
I would have pre-ordered it already if the Steelbook edition came out in in my preferred retailer, because I have so many reward points that I'd pay for it. But right now I'm just like, because I got so many things going on in my personal life that is like cash going out the window. So you kind of have to wait and sit. And we have 5 months. They said November 15th, November 12th, right?
We got plenty of time. Plenty of time. Yeah.
And I mean, I've not pre-ordered it yet, but I mean, I usually typically like I don't collect games right now. I usually just get everything digital. I'm not really too bothered about collecting, so I usually always just pre-order it like a couple of days before it comes out, just so I can download it and have it ready to go.
Get that early download.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of the only thing I'm because I know for a fact I'm going to buy it, so no point in denying that.
Yep. If you want that statue though, get that order now because those aren't going. Those are going to go quick.
Well,
that $280 order from Game or GameStop. That's Game in the UK, right?
Yeah,
it's Game in the UK. Yeah, I think they're about the only high street games shop still trading.
Yeah, you don't see many about.
No.
The GameStop has mostly gone into high-end collectibles and
has it?
And Funko Pops. Well, with the transition into digital and things like that, the secondhand market is shrinking.
Yeah, which is a shame. I've bought some great games for the PS5 here. As in, I've bought PS4 games secondhand, and I bought
the original Assassin's Creed secondhand.
Yeah, and I think I'm getting old, but I'm looking more at physical media and thinking I would rather own a game than have the disc.
There was a comment 6 months ago or so by a Ubisoft that said basically get used to not owning your games, and I'm just like, nope, I'm gonna keep buying physical.
I remember that.
Yep, absolutely. When the trailer had released, I sent the link to my wife and said, if you wanted to get me something for Christmas, this would be amazing, and she ordered it. So happy days. Maybe we'll do an unboxing.
I thought about talking to my wife because that one is close to Christmas, but Star Wars Outlaws comes out closer to my birthday.
Right. And you are a Star Wars fan.
I am a Star Wars fan. That is true.
Is it next month for that?
Star Wars Outlaws is August 20.
Oh, is it August? Oh, see,
yeah, it's like August 27th or something like that.
Cool. Yeah, that should be.
It's going to be a lot of gaming in those 3 months. I haven't
from Ubisoft.
Pre-ordered Outlaws. Yeah. I haven't pre-ordered Outlaws, but open world Star Wars game. Yes,
yeah,
please.
and they've already guaranteed there's at least one season pass because they have the gold edition that comes with the season pass for Outlaws.
Right.
Yeah. So it's going to be, and they've promised at least 2 DLCs for Shadows.
At least 2. Yeah, that's been discussed. Yeah. I wonder if they'll just repeat the template.
I'm absolutely fine with that. No, I was just going to say I'm absolutely fine with that. I mean, a lot of people don't like DLC and stuff like that, but I don't know. I've always enjoyed it. I always like, if you like a game that much, why not get more of it?
The only thing that bothers me about the DLC is how they roll it out. Like, I put 700 hours into Valhalla, just to play all of the DLC and get all of the achievements for it.
Hmm.
And that by the time I was done with that, same with by the time I was done with Odyssey, it was a lot. And I
Yeah.
was burnt. It was one of the reasons why I've been away from the community for so long. I was just burnt out.
I remember it might have been the last time we recorded with you, me and Declan. I think it was me, Declan, you, and Arshak. Um, and we were talking about replayability, but we went off topic for a long time before
Oh,
we
yeah.
actually got to the topic. And I think you said that you had farmed all the resources necessary to upgrade all of Avor's weapons to the mythic or the divine or whatever because they added another tier,
Uh-huh.
didn't they, with one of the
Uh-huh.
expansions? And you
Yeah.
must have invested so many
Well,
hours
there
just
was
in
also,
resource gathering.
and when they did the when it first came out, when they first came out to Divine, there was a bug that you could go forward, take all of the gear off of like something you'd buy in the store or get from the shop, and it would give you all the resources so that you could put into your other weapons. So I just kept doing that over and over and over and over again, but it still was a big time sink.
They patched it, but I remember early on with Valhalla, the material you needed for upgrades was titanium, which is hilarious because titanium wasn't known then. But anyway, there was a glitch in Lincoln where you could revisit a house and just mine titanium from a guard repeatedly. So I did that a lot to get titanium. Anyway, yeah. Go on, Chris, mate.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Okay.
Just agreeing. Just nodding in agreement.
Yes, 700 hours is a lot. Was
Yeah,
that for
that is
one
insane.
playthrough, Andrew?
Yeah, because there was no new game plus, there was no replayability for the story, which I still attest that they could have put something into the map with oh goodness, I romanced her and I can't even think of her name.
Oh my God.
Drawing a blank.
The lady at the map.
Yeah. The
Randvi.
yes,
the wind calls me back
always
to Randvi.
Randvi, yes. Randvi.
Yeah.
Like the only name I remember off the top of my head that wasn't a historical character is Dag, and that's because Dag was just a douchebag.
Yeah. That came up in Darby has been asked about him, I think, multiple times. It was either in a Reddit AMA or it may have been when Declan and I interviewed him. I just can't remember now. It's been a while. But it came up multiple times. People have said, why did you write this guy as such a prick? And there is a fair reason. He did have a really good justification for it. And it totally makes sense. But fuck that guy. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm pretty sure I denied him his weapon.
Did you? I didn't.
I think
I was
so.
A good Viking.
I think he bothered me so much that I denied him his, and I definitely denied Ivar his.
Okay.
Oh yeah, with what he did to Clonbert, Chaelbert.
Oh, the young Chaelbert.
Chaelbert,
the young
I was like, nope.
Kid.
Yeah, poor kid.
That's fair enough. I don't remember.
Oh, I really need to play that story again. The story was good.
See, if you ever do play through Valhalla again, then just be sure to make specific saves before big events
that's true.
At the start of storylines and stuff, because that's what I've started doing since Odyssey, actually. As soon as we were given the ability to make saves and we couldn't replay it, even with New Game Plus, because I don't know what it is. I'm not really a New Game Plus kind of guy. And let's see, unless like you're kind of forced to do it to like get achievements or something, then I'll do it. But see if it's just, oh, this is you continuing to start a new game. 9 times out of 10, I'll just start the game again.
Well, with Odyssey, I definitely needed to go through New Game Plus because I got through the Southern Naval Battle. I'm forgetting the name of it. It started with a P, but I was underleveled, and I went, okay, I guess I'll go back and do all the side missions. 40 hours later, I come up to that mission and I go, what's going on in the story?
Yeah, completely forgot.
Yep.
That's a good point. How will they balance? Because I love an open world game. I would call out just personal preference. Horizon, both of them are fantastic open world games. I play with the HUD off and you just walk, and I love just to walk and have the music on and just disappear into the world. But you need the game to sometimes remind you, wait, what was I doing again?
Yep.
And I felt that Odyssey did a better job of, maybe not for you, Andrew, but for me, I felt like I always knew what I was doing. Okay, I'm back to finding dad. Okay, I'm back to finding mum. And I did lose that thread with the way Valhalla was structured, but I wish I'd played Valhalla differently now. Um, but yeah, Valhalla, had I perhaps played it differently and treated it as an episode of Vikings or Last Kingdom, I could have I should have ignored all the side stuff and just done the story arcs and finished it in probably a third of the time that I did.
Yeah, or at least when I did it, I should have kept it to when I started a storyline, do everything in that shire.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder how Red will balance out side content from main content.
Yeah.
Well, there is a silver lining, and it's that they've said that the maps are close to Origin size.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's
Good.
it's a big map, but it's manageable compared to, the other
Yeah.
few.
The question I'm going to have is how full is it? Is it going to feel like an Origins map where it felt lived in and dense, or is it going to feel like Valhalla where you could go for miles and miles and miles and not sing a soul?
Yeah.
What connects to that is the comment that they made again. I think it was in the trailer explained video, which is about 13, 14 minutes. And we saw it in the cinematic trailer as well, where Naue picks up a little piece of paper, a clue from someone in the market.
The spy thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And they've said that it's going to be, they've tried to make it less, here's a map full of question marks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Or you go to an synchronization point and you just see all them. It's going to be more about, I suppose you'd call it organic or investigative.
Yep.
Gameplay,
I saw
which
that
appeals to me a lot.
I saw that they pulled out the circling animation for viewpoints. So that kind of just all really ties into that too.
Yeah.
See, so is that confirmed then? So when you do, so it won't synchronize then? It won't go round the point, the camera?
I thought I saw that in IGN. So I
See,
would assume so because
if that is the case, that's just funny to me because I mean that makes me kind of sad actually, right? If that is the case. But it's just funny because, and I can't remember why, but I remember when Origins was coming out, and for some reason, I think it must have been some stupid rumor or something like that, but I had the impression that they had removed it at that point. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so weird climbing up a viewpoint and then it doesn't synchronize. That's so strange to me. But then obviously I played the game and it did do it. So I was like, okay, we're cool. We're cool.
well, the one thing I liked about the spin for the viewpoints is seeing the scenery. So like
Yeah.
there's one in Odyssey. It was the temple at, oh goodness, it was the one on the hill with the.
You mean the Acropolis?
No, I'm thinking
Oh,
of
the Corinthia.
Corinthia, yeah. Where you just can see almost the
you can
whole
see
map because of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my absolute favorite part of the viewpoints isn't what they unlock on the map, it's seeing the world.
Yeah. Now I'm just quickly so I quickly, while you were talking, chaps, I quickly Googled the IGN article. Let me read this bit out to you. So this is a quote from one of the devs. It's less of a follow a quest to a point. It's more of a I want to do this, then you'll find the way to do it. He notes that the campaign is still objective based, but that players will have a little more agency in how they go about things. This is partly exemplified by a change made to Assassin's Creed's iconic synchronization points. Visiting them in previous games used to plot up to a dozen new objective markers on your map telling you exactly where to find new activities. In Shadows, they're now simply vantage points to be climbed from which you can look around and spot highlighted locations. So I wonder if instead of glowing markers, it'll be more about, you know how they do it in Ghost of Tsushima, where you have either circling birds or a bit of smoke from a campfire. Will there be more natural points of interest, and you have to go and explore?
That's the way they make that sound anyway.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
So the one thing we haven't mentioned is modern day.
Oh, good point.
They've already said more than once we're not going to have a modern day in this because it's going into the Infinity app or hub or whatever you want to call it. And I don't know if I'm okay with that. I guess I really need to see how it integrates with Infinity to know if I'm going to be okay with that. Because I don't mind the idea if Infinity is like an Animus, where you jump into the hub, you see what's going on, and then you load shadows like you're loading the Animus. Because I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that too.
And you can then technically come out whenever you want to get whatever modern day story you've unlocked. So I would be okay with that.
Yeah, I could see it being like that. Like you'd you'd load up Infinity, you'd be into this Animus, and it would give you like a bit of modern day story, and then you wouldn't get the next bit of modern day story unlocked until you do X amount of shadows or X amount of Hexy when it comes out. So
yeah, you either have to hit certain percentage points or a certain place in the story, and it just won't kick you out. It'd be like Brotherhood with Desmond's emails.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. It all depends on how much time and effort is put into Infinity. Is there actually a narrative there?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Because we don't.
The modern day is quite cool. There's lots of good stuff going on in the modern day story.
I think they name dropped it when they first started talking about Red Shadows and Hexe. So I would assume it's been in development just as long or close to it.
Yeah, true.
See, there was a thing a few years back, and they were saying that they have an ending for the story of Assassin's Creed. They know how to wrap it up. But I'm thinking now that that's not going to happen because I feel like now they seem to be going like all in on Assassin's Creed. It seems like way more than ever before. They seem like they're like 100% like this is what's happening.
They've killed Watch Dogs. They've killed Phoenix Rising. They've killed Splinter Cell. They have Splinter Cell, right? They just killed Heartlands.
They just killed one of the Division games.
The Division. So what else do they have? They have a little bit of a Star Wars license, and they have Assassin's Creed.
Skull and Bones is not going to turn into a big
goodness
for them.
No.
They're all in. Well, X Defiant is their next attempt.
Is that the mobile game?
No, it's what's the fucking word for it? It's games as a service.
Oh, it's a live service game.
Shooter.
I think it's like an arena shooter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like Destiny?
Yeah. I guess.
I don't know.
Or is it more like
you're asking the wrong guy about that kind of style of game, my friend?
Yeah.
But that's their third, fourth, fifth attempt at a live service game. Anyway,
I mean, they should be going all in on Assassin's Creed. It's clearly their best.
Yep.
So,
and the changes that they made structurally for Assassin's Creed with Toronto and Montreal working closer together a couple of years ago, it seems like they're going all in. And I remember seeing a rumor. Oh, well, because I've been catching up. It would have been a few days ago, but I think the rumor's from a couple months ago that they're looking to monetize Infinity with like season pass content kind of thing. So you could pay a monthly fee and get cosmetics that could potentially go through all of the games or the free multiplayer and possibly even tie in older games to that monthly fee.
Ooh. That's one of the rumors. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like subscriptions. I mean, I've already got enough.
If it's not, I don't care about cosmetics. I don't care. I have every game in a hard copy. I don't need it. Are they going to lock the story behind it? Because if they lock the story behind those season passes, then there's a problem.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I mean, they made over $1 billion on Valhalla's cosmetic bundles alone.
That's what they said. Yeah. Yeah.
So
first Ubisoft game of any brand to earn more than $1 billion. And I remember something I didn't realize at the time, but I remember if you want to go and watch a really good video essay on Valhalla, I liked JV's breakdown of Valhalla, and he made a comment in there which was when you think back really obvious. What helped Valhalla in its release first couple of months was the failure of Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk came out at the same time, and it was a mess. PlayStation actually delisted it because it was so bad on the older consoles. I mean, PS5 and Xbox Series had only just come out. There weren't many people with next gen consoles, but the failure of Cyberpunk helped Valhalla.
So it took over a year for Cyberpunk to be playable.
Yep. And even now, when did Phantom Liberty expansion? That was earlier this year, wasn't it? Or end of last year?
I think.
That's the final. I haven't played Cyberpunk. I don't follow it closely, but there were entire game systems that had to be removed from the original Cyberpunk that were only finally re-added and fully working 3.5 years later in the Phantom Liberty release. So Valhalla benefited from that, but
they pushed that out way too soon.
Yeah. There's lots of people out there that like the cosmetics. My daughter here, she loves Fortnite and she likes leveling up. She likes unlocking the stuff. That's why she plays. And fair enough, it's entertainment, it's relaxing. People want the same. Some people want the same kind of feel from their stealthy assassin game.
And if that's how you want to spend your money, more power to you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're only playing a handful of games and that's your entertainment, just like I tell my daughter, just watch your spending.
You've got your pocket money, it's your money. If you want to spend it on a cosmetic, that's up to you.
Yep, absolutely.
When you realize later you've bought just some pixels, then we'll see how you feel. But I'm a boomer. That's what I get told. I'm a boomer. Even though I have to remind that the boomers actually were born in the 40s and 50s, but whatever. I want to go back to something Chris said earlier. Chris said they did have an ending or a way of ending Assassin's Creed. I remember reading this and it sounded so ridiculous. I don't know if it's true.
Right.
Did they give an actual story?
So Patrice Desilets, who created, didn't he create Prince of Persia first, then Assassin's Creed?
I think so,
like creative director or narrative director for the first 1 or 2 games.
3. He left during the Brotherhood.
Right. His original kind of sketch was that Desmond was effectively Adam. Now, I don't remember who was going to be Eve.
I think they were talking about
was
Lucy.
it going to be Lucy Stillman?
I think so, yeah.
Right.
Before they had a contract dispute with
what's her name?
I forgot her name. Kristen Bell, yeah.
The original, this is so ridiculous. The original sort of sketch plan was that eventually Desmond and Lucy would leave Earth.
On a spaceship.
Yep.
There was going to be like 5 or 6 games. Desmond was going to become the ultimate assassin, and they were going to leave Earth on a spaceship.
Yep.
That was the cult shit.
Now, can you understand why they didn't quite go through with that? I mean, it was money.
Well, that was before it got big, and like you can look into the lore stuff from 1 and see that it's not quite our world.
Yeah. But on the other point, why would they stop making Assassin's Creed games? They make a lot of money.
And with the separation of modern day and historical, they can just continue to do their historical tourism and fantasies.
Yeah. Probably now my microphone can pick up some noise from my family that are shouting in the background, which is great. maybe I'll just mute the audio, do a little snip of the audio. So modern day, there might be none.
Yeah, within the game, I don't think there's going to be any.
Even
one
less
thing
than
on
Mirage.
They did say that Shadows would be the first game that releases with Infinity. So we're getting Infinity November 15th then, or before?
That's the way it seems. I would like to see them do an early launch on Infinity so we can like lean into the story and things like that. But I don't see that happening.
Time will tell.
Watching Embers again this morning, I think that's a really nice story. It's nicely animated. It's got that Clone Clone Wars.
Oh yeah, the
style of animation.
Tarkovsky one, or no, the old actual canon one.
Yeah. Um, I would love for them to sort of over the summer release a short film like that that kind of gets us up to date on what's happening with the modern day. Who's in charge of the Templars? What are Sean and Bex doing?
Now that they're married,
they're married. They might be having little assassin babies. Who knows?
and what's going on with Basim in the modern day?
Yeah,
Right. So
that's
Valhalla. This is a good point. So Valhalla leaves Basim in the modern day. William Miles and him are now best buds. We're exploring Basim's memories in Mirage, but there is other modern day stuff in. It was in the board game, I think. The board game has an
Yes.
expansion in Japan.
Tokyo 21.
So there's stuff going on.
Yeah, because that expansion is where we learn the fate of Otto Berg. He's walking again. He's got cyber legs or something.
Oh dear.
But I don't remember what they were hunting for in Tokyo. But I mean, that would be a great way to tie into Shadows and to move the story forward.
I mean, it probably doesn't mean anything because it never really does, but the original map with the temples on it there is one in Japan, so
Okay.
on the Apple of Eden at the end of AC1 when it's spinning. Yeah.
Can you
There is
tell
one
what
on
part of
Japan.
Japan it is? Is it in the central part?
Oh no, I need to go back and look at it again. I've got a picture of it, so I'll hunt that out.
Yes, please, mate. That would make some good B-roll for YouTube.
And since we're talking about it, I'm surprised. I'm kind of not surprised we haven't mentioned this, but I'm sure there's going to be somebody there going talk about Desmond's ancestor, because there's that little email in Assassin's Creed 4 that mentions Japan.
Okay.
Where that mention goes back to the Ashikaga shogunate, which is the ruling military during the Miramachi period that ended just before where we start. So it's unlike, and they mentioned specifically it being part of the 14th century. So Desmond's ancestor that we know about is 150 years before this. Doesn't mean we wouldn't see someone that's related to Desmond. We just wouldn't know. We just wouldn't know who it is.
All right.
Unless they come out and either have Desmond's face or Nolan North is voicing him.
I'd be up to hearing his voice again. That'd be nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So we've had a good chat about the trailer. We've shared a few extra things that we've learned as well. We've had a bit of a tour of the lore and other stories that have taken place and the connection from Renaissance Italy through Shaoyun in China through to the Brotherhood, which was only founded a few years before the events of this game. Anything else you want to mention, gentlemen? Andrew, you're our guest.
I got one question. What are the chances we see Cassandra? We know she's alive. She was created by Quebec.
I kind of hope we do. Even if
Main
it's just
game or
for
DLC?
one. I'm not sure actually. Either way, I'd be fine with. But even if it's just some daft side quest and she just happens to be kind of there, and it's like presented as like silly, like
on a beach.
Yeah. See, like even if it was just like that, it's just still a nice wee nod.
Yep.
And you know she's there in the background. That's cool.
I was actually going to say the opposite. I'm not that bothered if she's there or not. I don't know. I think it would be a bit strange if she keeps almost become comedic if she keeps popping up.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Like I feel like I don't need her in everything.
No,
but at the same time, I feel like I'd be Leo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. just pointing it out. It's like, there she is.
See, I do agree. Like, I don't want her to appear in everything, but I do want her to appear in a few things, just to like, because just keep it.
She's there. It's 2,000 years old. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I would love to see her as the main character in the Netflix show and just have her bounce around time periods.
You know what? That's actually sounds like a lot of fun. It'd be like a good kind of comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
An Assassin's Creed comedy. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Andrew, anything else we missed? Anything else burning?
Um, no, I think we pretty much touched on everything. Um,
All right.
yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how far they go with it. Like, what is our ending year going to be?
Mm, mm,
Because
absolutely.
Naoe's 17 at the start of the game.
Right. Okay. Understood.
That's the same age as Ezio and beginning of two,
Oh, that's a nice little tidbit.
and two lasted almost 40 years.
That's a good point. Yeah. All right. Chris, anything else from you?
No, man, I'm excited. Like as I've said about a million times at this point, this is the game I've been
Yep.
waiting for, so I'm quite happy no matter
Yes.
what.
Yep.
And always great to hear Andrew's lore tidbits and all that. So yeah, thanks for coming
Absolutely.
along.
Absolutely. I'm glad you dusted off the microphone, Andrew, and
Yeah, it
said
looks like I stored it well.
join us.
Oh, well, there's some cat hair, but it'll be all right.
The joy of having cats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's leave it there. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Thank you all for listening and watching. And, well, it's Saturday afternoon here in the UK on the 18th. Family permitting, I'm going to try and get this edited and uploaded maybe tonight because I'm kind of just really energetic and motivated to get shit done. So we'll see. But otherwise, it'll definitely be done by Sunday, the 19th. And then in 10 days, we've got the symphony. So it is all
Right.
go this month.
Hmm.
So
Before we go, when is the Ubisoft Forward? Is that June 10th? Where we should actually see gameplay?
quickly Google it. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Because that would be right around the E3 window of that doesn't happen anymore.
June 10th. Yep.
June 10th.
Yep.
We may do a little follow-up episode depending on what we see there.
Yep.
But let's see. All right. Have a good one. We'll end it there, and we'll be back very soon. Probably next content from us will be from the symphony. So yeah, follow us
All right.
to see what's going on there. See you guys soon.
Bye.
Right.